Welcome back to another fresh one from your boy, from the houseofaquariuspodcast. It's your boy Make-A-Wish here. So I was thinking about one from a past time, and I got one for you. Today we're going to talk about the relationship dynamic between an Aquarius man and a Sagittarius woman. Just think about this a little bit ago. So, before we get into the details of the meat of the actual relationship, whatever, Aquarius and Sagittarius, on paper, are an amazing combination. One, they both love their independence. Neither one of them really like clinginess. They don't like people trying to attach too hard to them. A Sagittarius is the free range person of the zodiac. They like to have the freedom, they like to be adventurous, they like to try new things. They don't like restrictions and being constrained in a relationship situation. Highly intellectual people, they are the sign of higher learning and philosophy. They, like the Aries, they like to be outside and doing things. They like to move around. They love traveling and other such goodies as such. With those things into consideration, the Aquarius loves to not be constrained or restrained either, especially in relationships. They don't like clinginess. And they like to give space. They like freedom. They're the kind of relationship where you can expect, for the most part, two people coming and going and doing their own things at will, with each other doing, don't get me wrong, this two relationships do things with each other. And one thing about that is they both treat it kind of like a very strong friendship instead of a romantic love fest. Even though they both can be very romantic when they find that right person that brings that quality out for them. And on that note, Aquarius tends to be the less romantic of the two. It's up in strong spurts because they tend to let life and distractions hold them to distract them. Life and distraction to distract them. Hobbies, interests, whatever they're doing takes precedence and they focus on that stuff. And because of the fact that they're not typically the emotional person to be clingy, Sagittarius loves that. And the same with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is always trying to do things, always trying to be constantly moving. And they treat it kind of like a friendship too. But I would think that, again, this is purely sun sign talking here, that the Sagittarius will be the more emotional of the two, since obviously Aquarius is known for being emotionally detached for the most part when it comes to not acknowledging their feelings and emotions, which is something very akin to Sagittarius as well. I'm thinking about it, that actually sounds really, they're like two sides of the same coin. But there are differences abound, obviously. According to Zodiac, the Sagittarius is actually more an optimistic one. And Aquarius would be more of a realistic one. So I can see where there's a little kind of disconnect there. Now, going to the relationship, that was the case study basically for this. In that situation, the Aquarius was the one who was willing and open to do things. And the Sagittarius actually wasn't. And due to the Sagittarius unwilling to wanting to go do things or go places where the Aquarius was willing to go, there was a lot of staying home and being unhappy. And as time went on, the Sagittarius actually didn't like that, even though that was the Sagittarius just choosing to not do stuff, which is a odd paradox by itself. Sagittarius is also one of the signs that are known for being very blunt and very straightforward. In this situation, the Sagittarius wasn't. So a lot of the other aspects of their zodiac or the birth chart kind of what's that word? I changed them in regards to, I wasn't looking for, but we'll go with that. They changed it so that dynamic wasn't really there. And so what ended up happening was the Aquarius was more of the outspoken, taking charge, and being the bad guy for saying and doing things that the Sagittarius wanted to say or do, but didn't want to. And then when it came out, it was inappropriate or other such stuff. This is an older story, so I apologize. This is a way long past time ago I heard this one. So the details aren't that strong. But many times, from what I remember, is that a trash truck messed up my flow? Many times, the Sagittarius ended up not being happy because the Sagittarius was not doing things that Sagittarius was supposed to do, which is they wanted to be in a relationship. They wanted to settle down, but they were settling down with the wrong kind of person, for which they wanted to go against their grain. Like Sagittarius love hard, so do Aquarius when they find the right person. And typically what happens in a relationship with a Sagittarius, like I said, it can feel like a friendship, and you try to tie them down, they will resist. And you will have a lot of confrontation, maybe not directly, but, actually probably directly, more so directly, depending on the kind of person they are, the rest of their chart. But you can't force that Sag to sit down and settle down if that's not what their heart desires. They demand freedom, independence. And the more you cling to and attach to them, they will resist and pull away. And that holds very true with the Aquarius. They love the freedom. You try to restrict them, try to hold them down, try to force them to do things that they're unwilling to do, you will find more conflict. And actually, in that situation, the funny thing about that is I think the Aquarius is actually more resistant to that change because they're fixed on. Or should be more resistant to that change because they're fixed on. Instead, they're going to fight and tantrum more. If that's the right word to be using. I don't want it this way. You can't keep me down. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm a grown man. Even at 16 years old, you know. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things. Like that, I mean, like I said in paper, like in all seriousness, unless they find the right Sag, the right Sagittarius, the right Aquarius together, the combination, they will eventually butt heads and or become so lax and distant from each other while being friends that there might not ever be any true romance there in the first place. That's one thing where dealing with those signs is actually very trying on a person who wants commitment. These people are not afraid of commitment, but they have to have everything properly in place for them to be fully satisfied and not think about leaving or anything like that. Because Aquarius is actually one of the signs who gets married the most, or by astrology means, you know, they marry the most. Libra is up there as well too, but that's another time, another story. On that note, I'm going to probably end it right there for this free reign one, because I don't want to get too far into details for what do you call that? For the past case study, because unfortunately a lot of things, this is a long time ago story, and I can't give you too much more details in regards to how the food dynamic clicks and functions. I remember this though. The Aquarius, he was more, open to doing things with the Sagittarius and what you wanted, but the Sagittarius wanted less options and choices and wanted the Aquarius to make more decisive decisions. Or at least that's what she felt she wanted at that point in time. And then there was a breakup, and then an attempt from the Sagittarius to get back with Aquarius later on. I remember that now. But typically what happens with Aquarius, you know, once they leave or once you leave, that's typically the end of that situation. Every now and then they come back together, depending, you know, the rest of the birth chart, all the good stuff. But yeah, that's typically how that goes. So that one, I'm not going to drag too much further than that, but like I said, on paper, that is a very strong win for an amazing experience, for a relationship, for a long-lasting relationship that they both should be happy with, and sexually. The assumption, because we call that, who's that? The Aquarius tends to be more inventive and open to try new things, or open to new ideas, and the Sagittarius tends to be more open to try new things, typically. That's, again, on paper or by the books, you know? So, just ponder that a little bit, like, maybe the dynamic was changed if it was an Aquarius female and a Sagittarius male. Maybe that might play a little bit different. I don't know. If you guys have been in a relationship, let me know in the comments below how that worked out for you, because I'm actually kind of intrigued now. Now I think about that. That's what I like about to talk about this stuff. I start to get the gears running, you know? So on that note, you know, like, share, subscribe, comment to the channel, turn that bell notification on, let me know what you think. And if you want to hit your sign up, if you want your sign to be touched first or sooner, let me know, because these are just ideas pop in my head, or stories that happened in my lifetime. Not my lifetime, but stories that happened around that I got there. And we could go dive into those sooner or later, you know? You know? It's your boy Make a Wish. I'm gonna leave that on this note here. Stay classy, my friends. Be free.